Hey everyone, welcome to the Breaking It Downs podcast. I'm your host, Julie Downs, joined by my husband and co-host, Greg. And Greg, thankfully, we're into the final week of the regular season. I'm exhausted. I think we're both battling the Christmas extended sickness and
We should call us the Broken Downs podcast today because Julie and I both had a wonderful time in Florida, visited my family, my dad, but we came home sick as dogs. And we're kind of like some of these teams that are struggling into week 18. We're
struggling.
going to get out there on the field, but this is what we got. So excuse our voices and excuse we're coming to play.
The best we can.
We're doing the best we can. So,
all right, well, speaking of dogs, we begin with a double header on Saturday afternoon. The Cleveland Browns are an astounding 20-point underdogs at Baltimore.
Yeah, that 20 number is outrageous. I believe it's the highest in 5 years. I think Arizona, and regardless, it's the highest in 5 years. Cleveland Browns, here's what you got to know. They now are in line for one of the top two picks, which, sorry for Deb Watson. They're going to be looking for a new quarterback, no doubt about it. Bailey Zappi, remember him?
Former Patriot.
Bailey Zappi will be in at quarterback. Might as well be Frank Zappi, Mrs. Sorelli. Doesn't really matter. Browns seriously are missing everyone. Njoku, the tight end.
Jerome. No Joku.
No Joku. Oh, still got a little juice in you.
I'm trying.
Jerome Ford. They're down to the third, fourth string running back. Point being, quickly, Baltimore with a win wins the division, which is all important. Don't have to go on the road for the first week. Loss and Pittsburgh win, they fall to wild card. So Baltimore needs the win. That's where we're at, Julie. Cold night, by the way. Shouldn't be bad weather for precipitation, but cold afternoon.
Well, I'm dressed for it.
You're dressed for it.
I'm still staying indoors, not heading out, but I'm going to go Cleveland Browns cover, Baltimore wins 20 points. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
the NFL, guys.
I could legit see Baltimore covering the spread. I'll take the 20, maybe bite to 21, just point being if Baltimore's up a ton, they yank the starters later. I don't think the game's going to be in doubt. So anyway, Baltimore cruises to a division win.
All right. Well, on to Saturday night in the Steel City, where we have Cincinnati 2.5-point favorites at Pittsburgh. Cincy certainly hoping to steal a win here.
Yeah, Cincy, they need a win and a lot of help. So for them to make the playoffs, they're on a 4-game winning streak, but poor starts and bad finishes. They need a win, and they need a Denver loss to KC and a Miami loss, or a combination of a loss and a tie by both of them. Not very likely. We'll get to the KC game. They're going to rest starters. Miami loses to the Jets, not likely, but Cincy alive. Pittsburgh, 3-game losing streak. They can win the division, we just said, with a win and a Baltimore loss. I get the feeling they're going to play hard regardless because that game will have finished, but Pittsburgh's on a 3-game losing streak. Want to shore that up before the playoffs. One other note, injury note, Chad Brown, the Cincy running back, who's had a phenomenal year, he's going to attempt to play. That's as of a couple hours. We don't know that. And Joey Porter Jr., Steelers' best corner, should be back, which is another big factor. And happy birthday to Kev's out there. Belated birthday for Kev's.
You owe me a Primanti sandwich.
Julie's on edge here. Kev's is probably hope for still a win. I don't want to bring up that he didn't have the greatest ending in Nevada, New Mexico hoops last night. Some bad beats. So he needs some birthday love. So give him a pick, Julie.
All right. Well, for Kev's birthday, I'm going to pick the Steelers cover and win here.
I'm with you, too. I know that Bengals are on a winning streak. A couple close calls. I don't see Pittsburgh losing at home again. They right the ship for the playoffs. Pittsburgh wins and covers. Covers and wins.
All right. Well, on to the final day of the regular season on Sunday, where we have Buffalo. They are 3-point favorites at New England. Hard to believe they're only 3-point favorites, but I'm guessing it's because they just don't care.
Yeah, Buffalo,
they don't need it.
They have nothing to play for. They're locked into the 2 seed, can't move up or down. McDermott has already stated the starters, they might be a mix, which means they're not going to play a lot. Just saw a second ago that some of the receiving core is going to be out now. I'm guessing, just my own guess, Josh Allen plays a drive, maybe a quarter. If that, they may change that close to the game time. That's what you're looking at.
All right. I think that Buffalo all the way. Yeah, I know.
You're a
I'm
Pats
sick.
fan.
You're sick. I'm aware.
I'm going to take the Pats. Although I think the Pats win this game outright. I mean, Buffalo really does have nothing to play for. Almost lost to the Pats 2 weeks ago at home. I don't see any motivation for Buffalo at all. Give me New England with Drake May to get a win.
Well, I hope. May he win. Green Bay, 10.5 point favorites over Chicago.
So motivation here is somewhat for Green Bay. Green Bay can get the 6 seed as opposed to the 7, which I do think it does. I think because the 6 seed you're going to be playing Tampa or the Rams as opposed to going to Philly, which I would think they would prefer, quite frankly. LaFleur, the coach, says we're playing to win no matter what. That being said, that doesn't guarantee you can play to win with your backups as well. I don't know what that means. Bears on a 10-game losing streak, big spread. That's what we're looking at.
Bears cover, Green Bay wins.
With you as well. I think the Bears show enough life, but the Packers backups are not. Get a win. Bears cover.
Speaking of another 3 point spread and a dog team, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 3 point favorites over the surging G-Men coming off of a win last week, which much to Greg's chagrin.
Are you trying to make me feel any worse than I have?
Hey.
You heard me coughing a lung up. I think I yelled a lung out on Sunday when the Giants. Anyway, get to that. Relevance for this game. Barkley is sitting. That's big news. Saquon Barkley
actually going for the title.
Saquon Barkley with a shot at the rushing title. Break Eric Dickerson. They've decided he's going to sit. Sirianni's going to sit most of the starters.
Saquon's not happy about that.
I think he's kind of torn because he said he won a shot, but he understands like they're playing for much bigger things than an individual record. Okay. Tanner McGee, who actually looked pretty good, he threw 2 touchdowns for Philly last week. He's going to be at QB because it looks like Pickett might still be out. They're not going to play Hurts. I think the Eagles are not going to play a soul. I would say the G-Men are playing for a draft pick.
Do they know that? Do they know that? Did they forget that last week?
Ooh. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So
anyway, I think Philly will win. I'm giving you a belated Christmas gift and saying that Philly will win.
Now, you know what? Because I feel like hell, the Giants pissed so many of us. And I've never rooted for the Giants to lose. Sunday was the one time that I was like, okay, we're 2-13. Like at this point, just don't get. It's as much. I didn't want guys to get hurt. Like Neighbors was questionable. Play the Cutlets. Don't play anyway. They're gonna piss me off even more. I'm dead serious. The Eagles have no. If they're not playing for Barkley's record, what do they have to play for? Which is nothing. The G-Men are gonna piss me off again. They're gonna win this game.
I think the Eagles just want to piss you off too.
They do it less, but they'll piss me off by them losing. So
I know.
Yeah, G-Men win. Go down even further in the draft board. Don't get me started. Let's go.
Moving on to Tampa. They are 14-point favorites over New Orleans.
Well, this is one team needs everything. The other needs nothing. Tampa Bay win, clinched the division, loss with an Atlanta win. They're completely out. So this game is everything to Tampa. Bucky Irving, the young stud running back, he played last week. He'll be back again. Saints have a ton of starters out. Basically, their entire offensive star power down to third, fourth running back.
Yeah, I hate laying 14 points, but I'm going to lay the 14 points. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay all the way.
Yeah, same here. Tampa showed it against Carolina last week. They put up a ton. I think the same things happen. I think New Orleans is out of weapons. Tampa cover win.
Tennessee, 2-point favorites over Houston.
Well, this is another Houston really not much to play for either here. They won the division, but they're the 4 seed, can't go up or down. On the flip side, I will say that was such an ugly performance against Baltimore on Christmas Day. Scored 2 points. It looked like arguably worse than the G-Men. Well, yeah. But the one thing I will say about this, Tennessee playing the string, they're playing for the 1 or 2 pick. They're going to start Will Levis again. Who knows his last start? They said they might play him and Rudolph. I get the feeling they're really going to try and not win this game. Or I do think Houston, I don't think the starters play the whole game, but there's no way they're going to want to go into the playoffs coming off that performance against, that's my opinion, against Baltimore.
Yeah, they're going to
That's how I look at this game. Backups or not, I think Houston does have some motivation, but that's the synopsis.
All right. I think Houston cover win.
Yeah, I think so. So there's no way Houston wants to go in like that. Yeah, that 2-point performance. Give me Houston. Tennessee's terrible. They may try and lose. Houston cover one.
Moving on, Atlanta, 7.5-point favorites over Carolina.
Well, we just said the scenario. Atlanta needs a tough loss on Sunday night to Washington last week and lost in overtime. Now it's desperation time. They need a win and a Tampa Bay loss, which is going to be hard to do. Penix, the young QB, played well, converted a 4th down twice, scored a touchdown basically the end of regulation towards it. Carolina improved down the stretch. They played with effort. They did take a beating to Tampa last week.
Still without Chuba Hubbard.
He's out for the year. He's on injured reserve.
All right. Well, I'm going to take Atlanta cover win.
I'll take Carolina to score enough points. I think Bryce Young and Thielen have that connection's been pretty good, but Atlanta wins the game. And don't forget Indy. I know it's a game we want to forget. We skipped over Indy Jacksonville because that means a lot.
All right. Indianapolis, they are 3.5-point favorites over Jacksonville.
So Indy actually had a shot at the playoffs last year. Honestly, that's one of the worst losses you'll ever see in your entire life. Disastrous loss to the G-Men. Now their season's over. Anthony Richardson's out for this game, so Joe Flacco getting one last start at QB. Jacksonville side showed some effort lately, won a game or two. Could be the last game for Coach Doug Peterson, which I think it will be because
should be.
They've been a train wreck this year. Mac Jones a QB. That's what we're looking at in this thriller.
Indy cover win.
I'll take Jacksonville in a mess of a game. Brian Thomas makes a few plays. They cover. Indy wins, but please be careful. This game's a disaster.
All right. Moving on, we have Washington, 6.5-point favorites over. Or is it over or at? You wrote both.
I did.
Dallas.
Over and at Dallas. Yeah, as I said. Injured list this week.
Strugglings.
Okay. So here is Washington. They are playing for a seed. Could be the 6 or the 7. I do think it is somewhat important because they're in the same spot. If I'm Washington, first of all, they want their offense to continue to play well, which Daniels and the offense has. They can face LA or Tampa as opposed to going to Philly, which I would think is preferable. So I think they're going to play Dallas. Really nothing to play for. They showed effort down the stretch till last week. Now CeeDee Lamb's out. Not sure that as of today, this is Saturday, if it's Cooper Rush or Trey Lance at QB. I don't get the sense they have anything to play for at this point. Even Mike McCarthy's job, they showed some fight down the stretch. Yeah, I don't know.
Washington cover and a win for me.
I'm with you too. I just get the feeling they want that offense to be in tune going into the playoffs. Give me Washington.
Denver, 10.5-point favorites over KC. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, you are. I mean, this is where week 18 is different, or the last week of the year, whether it's 17, 18. So scenario is Denver win or tie, they're in. So their fate is in their own hands. If they lose, they need Cincy and Miami to both lose or tie. Bottom line is Denver on their home field has a chance to get in. Why is KC 10.5-point underdogs?
They're not playing anyone.
Not playing anyone. Nothing to play for. Clinch home field. Mahomes sitting. All the starters. Carson Wentz, who has had some success in this league, is going to be at QB. But that's the reason for the 10.5-point spread.
All right. Give me KC cover a Denver win.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think Wentz, I think they will do some things for him. He's trying to save his career, rebuild his career, etc. Denver's offense is not great at times. Same thing. Denver wins, KC covers.
All right. Next up, the Jets. They are actually favored. They are 1-point favorites versus Miami.
I don't know how the heck the Jets are the favorite. Well, the reason for it is this. Tua is probably going to be out for this game with a rib injury. That being said, Tyler Huntley looked okay last week as a starter. Jalen Waddle, questionable. For the Jets, could be Aaron Rodgers' last game, probably with the Jets, maybe his career.
Could be.
One real factor, as much as Miami has to win this game, so they still have a shot at the playoffs. So whether it's 2 or not, they're going to play. Like, they're not going to take their foot off the gas here. Sauce Gardner out for the Jets. Tyreek Hill is almost definitely going to play. That's a problem on that side. I can't lay the points with the Jets, period. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, well, I hate the Jets, so Miami cover win.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is one of my favorite plays. Yeah, could the Jets pull some magic offensively? Rodgers one last hurrah. They're a mess. Give me Miami.
All right. LA Chargers, 4.5-point favorites at Vegas.
So Vegas off a 2-game winning streak, which has driven their fans insane. Some of the G-men taking them out of the number 1 pick consideration, which they need a QB. But Chargers, on the other hand, they could play up to the 5 seed. Possible motivation to play. If I were them, they need a little help. But if it's for my money's worth, I think Harbaugh will play. Will want to win this game. I think playing Houston at Houston as a number 4 seed who's not been playing well is motivation. That's what you're looking at this game. But I don't know. Did they put their pedal on the gas fully? Not really sure because Chargers are already in playoffs either way.
Vegas covers, Chargers win.
I'm going to take the Chargers all the way here. I think Herbert, Lad McConkey do enough early, get some points. Give me the Chargers.
Seattle, 6.5-point favorites at the Rams.
So Seattle, because of tiebreakers, completely knocked out a playoff race. Decent season, but came up short. Rams have already won the division now. They could play for the 3 seed, which you could say there's an advantage to that. Sounds like McVay, they're going to rest most of the starters. Nakua, Cooper Kupp, Connor Williams. I'm guessing Stafford sits as well. Seattle, once I said, not much to play for. Could be Geno Smith's last game at QB. He has no guaranteed money after this year. He's going to care for himself and future with Seattle.
Rams cover, Seattle wins.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think the Rams give them a fight, but Geno gets his last win. I agree.
Arizona, 4.5-point favorites over San Francisco.
So this is a disappointing ball right here. It's disappointing season for both, especially San Fran, who's a Super Bowl favorite. Injuries ravaged them. We've been over that. Once again, Purdy's out. The Patronaut, Josh Dobbs.
I like him.
Yeah, in a QB. He actually got a TD in the last drive against Detroit on Monday. He's a good feel-good story. He's in a QB. They're missing everybody. Deebo Samuel's now out. Kittle's questionable. I don't really see the reason they play him. Garendo, the young running back, looks like he should play. Arizona, decent season early, faded late. That's what we're at.
All right. Give me San Fran cover, Arizona win.
I'm going to take Arizona all the way here. I feel like Monday night against Detroit was their last hurrah. They put up a punch, but their defense, which is usually much better, just couldn't get a stop by. Give me Arizona.
Okay. On to the final game of the year on Sunday night, where we have Detroit. They are 3-point favorites over Minnesota.
So this is, whereas a lot of these games on Sunday are feel like us, under the weather, not know how much effort they have. This one's for everything on the line. What must-watch game. It's actually pretty interesting. It's the most wins ever combined in a regular season game. So 28 wins between them. The winner gets the 1 seed home field by next week. The loser all the way down the 5 seed on the road starting next Sunday.
Oh, good boy.
So everything is on the line. And this is probably the season for both teams because the road you'd have to go if you get the 5 seed is probably not doable. Just last week, Lions, big comeback win at San Fran on Monday night. Put up a lot of points, but gave up a lot. That's the concern. Mini took a big lead over Green Bay. I don't want to say they held on. Green Bay, a couple late scores, but Minnesota, another big win. Most underrated team, under-talked about team at 14-2, probably in the history of football. It's for all the marbles in the NFC and a good chance at which team has a shot and which team probably does not to make the Super Bowl. It's that important.
All right. Well, I think Minnesota is going to be the team that's talked about here. I'm going to say Minnesota cover, win. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, I agree, Tony. Sorry as well. And I don't think it's going to be shocking to a Lions fan. Listen, can their offense do enough to put up points at home? I think it will help, yes. I don't trust that defense enough. And I mean, San Fran.
And their coach gets a little too cutesy.
Yep, he does. Gets a little too aggressive for my liking. Again, Minnesota under the radar. Darnold playing great. That offense. Brian Flores in the D. I just think the body's out for Detroit. This is the game where it gets them. Give me Minnesota in a slight upset win for the 1 seed.
All right. And give me the last paper bag, Greg, of the season. You know, it's actually going to a team that won.
Oh, yeah. There's a first time for everything. It's 2025. It's our first podcast of 2025. You're damn right. The G-Men. Who else? Yep, there we go.
Explain the rationale for.
So how do you get the bag with a win? Because the one damn time on earth that we really need them to lose. The Giants desperately need a quarterback. You know, at 1 or 2, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, whether you like him or hate him, if you're 1 or 2, you have a shot at both of them. We went and watched Cam Ward in the bowl game. We went and personally scouted with Joe Shane, the Giants general manager. Yep, looked great. Ton of touchdowns early, didn't play the second half. The G-Men put up 45 and blew their chance. They're now at the 4 pick as of now. Probably not going to move up. And it's a disaster because now even if they want to trade, if they didn't like the quarterbacks, they could have traded out of the pick and get draft capital. It's just a disaster. I don't even need to talk about it, G-Men. But that can't go without saying. The Indianapolis Colts. Wow. Just wow. The G-Men are the paper bag champions of the year. That's their 7th time. This is the Colts' 2nd. They're in 2nd place. Despicable. One of the worst performances in NFL history, as I'm concerned. G-Men on a 10-game losing streak. Hadn't scored 20 points since week 9. Gave up 45 points to the G-Men. Allowed a kickoff return for a touchdown to start the second half. They made Drew Lock look like Joe Montana. It was literally one of the worst performances you'll ever see in the history of mankind. The G-Men and the Colts, congrats on the last bags. You two are the biggest losers of the year. Hi, caramba.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Bah humbug.
Well.
All right. Well, if you can't guess by the sound of us what our weekend plans are, it's couch, non-alcoholic fluids, rest, football, more couch.
Yeah, this is
More
ginger
sleep.
and lemon tea. There was no vodka. There was no anything else in it. Tim Couch used to be the quarterback of the Browns. They'll be kicking the week off for a while. I'm going to be Tim Couch. I don't think we're doing anything, but we are going to watch football on the couch and enjoy feeling better and having cold medicine and all that good stuff. So.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to say goodbye because I need the couch again.
Yeah, thank you again. And we'll come with a little more energy next week for the playoffs. This is a struggle, but we want to get out there. Again, Happy New Year to everyone again. Kev's happy belated birthday. Enjoy this week, and we will be back for our college playoff podcast, the semifinals, and the wild card round next week.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Happy football.